Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Newsflash, asshole! I've been hearing it the entire goddamn time!
And welcome back to the West of Waterford podcast. My name is Josh. I have here Brittany and two empty chairs and our special guest, the cat. The Queen herself has not appeared yet.
What are you going to do, like break out and... What?
Oh, I'm
sorry. It just looped.
Yeah, I know it looped. It's supposed to loop.
I was just going to say, what do you... You sound like every time you open the show, you're about ready to break into song from Les Miserables with that whole empty chairs, empty tables.
Drink with me, my friends, my... Whatever, however that goes. That's the song, right?
I don't recall, but I don't think that was resembling it
Oh,
whatsoever.
no, that's Drink With Me. Actually, I think that's the name of the song, is Drink With Me. I really have to ask Zach about that one, my brother, because he's the one who loves Les Miserables.
I know, but you always mention, like, it's just me and there are two empty chairs. Like, what? Like, you sound like you're going to break into that song. Maybe I'll have to play it for you later so you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. You've always said to be kind of a thing at the beginning of the show, to be kind of like, oh, you kind of have a set thing. So I've kind of fallen into this rhythm where I'm saying, oh, Brittany's here, and I'm looking at two empty chairs.
Yeah, but
usually,
well, we can talk about it later.
We can and
post show notes because
I
don't understand why you insist on doing that.
Well,
anyway,
I'm finding my groove. That's the best way. Like the groove in a well-made table that I'm sitting at, and the groove in, well, whatever the hell you're sitting at.
Wow, you're in a weird state of mind, I think, tonight.
I'm in a very good mood, actually. I'm a little tired.
You're saying weird things.
I am saying weird things, but you know what? I applaud myself for it. Thank you.
I do like that in the last episode.
Jason
called you out on it because that's something that you see. I like hearing it from somebody else.
But he was also very thankful when he said something, and I would applaud him. He actually kind of gave me a look like, okay, thank you, because. I mean, no. I mean, of course I'm going to applaud myself.
You're making that up.
And I'm going to applaud everybody around the table. I mean, that's what this button is for.
But it's mostly for you.
It's a plaything for me to play with. I like a soundboard. I think it's a lot of fun. Now, I'm not like Opie and overusing a soundboard. I hope, if I am, and anybody who's listening, if you know soundboard Opie, and if I'm anywhere approximating that, please tell me so I can go out back and do this to myself. Thank you. So, sorry. I'm going to have a sip of a drink here. My voice is giving out. You're very quiet. You look all tuckered out. You're in your pajamas. Your gym jams.
I'm not in my pajamas. I sleep in the nude.
This is... I can verify this.
I'm wearing comfy clothes, sweatpants, and a loose t-shirt. Yeah, and tennis shoes. So I'm not in my pajamas.
She rolls in here looking like all hell. But it's good. And at least you don't smell, which is good as well. It's really nice to work with somebody on a regular basis when you're sitting as close as we have to in this goddamn sweat box. I really wish the air conditioner would pick up, but it's nice that you don't smell. I wouldn't have married you if you did smell, to be honest with you. I don't think I would have married you if you did smell. Could you imagine marrying somebody who smells? Like just having a really bad odor about them and think, oh, great, now I'm committed to this for the rest of my life. He'll smell better when he's dead. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
Now you know how I feel.
Well, excuse me now. I think I have a very high standard of personal hygiene. I'm sitting currently on what feels like a soap. I was going to say soapbox, but I just feel like I have soap because I am, I did a bit of cleaning.
You clean your tendrils?
I cleaned...
Your hairy ass crack?
There you go. Harry Ascrack. Yes, that's a good name. This is a good name. I've taken to cleaning myself on the reg.
What do you do? Like, did you learn it all from Tony?
Tony?
Watching Tony clean herself?
No, more so just... I don't enjoy sitting down what feels like on a rust bucket. But now I'm finding out I don't particularly like... feeling like I've dropped the soap and decided, not to bend over, but to try to pick it up in my ass cheeks because I'm afraid of somebody from the corner coming out. It's like, I can help you with that. So That was actually a joke I made last night. I hope his last mic drop is a soap drop in the showers. And
That was a joke you made last
in
night.
context, it was about if the context was actually there.
What do you mean it, like with who? I don't
It was
understand.
some rapper on the streets who got arrested during riots or something. I was like,
What, you're talking about, you made a Twitter joke? You
It
made
was a
on
Twitter joke,
Twitter?
yes, it was a-
Okay. See, the thing about those is that you're doing it silently from your phone, so you don't really know if it's all that funny until you try and say it out loud.
but that's true. But the thing is,
it was funny. It was a Twitter
But
joke.
the good thing about it is on Twitter, you're able to quantify the likes and dislikes. Usually dislikes come in the form of a comment or a retweet saying, that wasn't funny, bro. Then you look up that person, it's a bot with joined yesterday with 1 follower. And, that's life. Anyway, moving on to more pressing issues. I got the feeling during the week, not during the week, feeling, I kind of had a external recommendation to watch Challenger, the final flight on Netflix. So I came home, was it Monday night? It was Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I gave it a go.
No, it was Sunday night.
Sunday night? Was it? No, it was Monday night. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
It was yesterday.
What? Holy shit.
No, it was
and there's the first swear word of the show.
Oh, wait, I don't think it matters, but I do think it was Sunday night.
Only,
We came home Sunday night and watched it.
was that?
I think so.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't. But yeah, we sat down, we watched Challenger. Now, I've been a big fan of the space program since I was a child, and the Challenger was always one that was very, very fascinating to me. And of course, Columbia later, which broke up over our fair skies here in Arizona and over New Mexico, and then, of course, Texas. It broke up for quite a streak of states, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that. I kind of even forgot about that it had happened. It was, what, 2003?
I think it was 2003, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we settled down, just the two of us. We popped a bottle of wine, lit some candles, and watched some horrific history.
None of that happened.
Of course, it didn't happen.
Well, at first, I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I was like, oh, I didn't want to watch something so serious. But it was good. We ended up watching. It's broken up in 5 episodes?
Four, yeah.
4. And so we ended up watching all 4.
In one sitting.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rare for us. They're 45 minutes, so
Yeah.
it's no mean feat to sit through it all. Especially, I was surprised. I think the biggest thing I was surprised about with the actual documentary, again, Challenger, the last flight on Netflix. It's a limited.
Final flight.
The final flight, excuse me, on Netflix. Check it out. Really do check it out. It's a limited series, so I don't know how much longer it's going to be there for. But the quality of the actual, I guess. I never put 2 and 2 together because of Christy McAuliffe going to space, that there would be so much coverage of her.
Right.
So you're getting to see maybe more than you probably would have before. I mean, astronauts are rock stars in those days. So obviously there was going to be a certain amount of media coverage, but I never knew it was to the extent of what was in this film.
Yeah, because it really took the time to talk to you about the program, the history of the program, with the new talking about the program using space shuttles. So it was a new chapter in NASA from what I think is they recruited, started recruiting for the new space shuttle astronauts in 1978, and it was just in the newspaper ads like any other job.
Yeah, that was a bit weird to me.
But it was focused on, obviously, if you had engineering. So it was showing that a lot of that 1978 class, they had a 2-year program where I think were 3, or at least multiple members were in that original class.
Yeah, there was a couple of with the Challenger when it went up, there was a couple of long termers there. I think Resnick was her name, right? Resnick, who was the other female astronaut, and she'd been kind of there since the beginning.
Well, I'm talking about since the beginning. We're talking about
like the shuttle program.
It was a new wave of recruitment.
Yeah.
To hire astronauts specifically for a new chapter in NASA, which was using the space shuttle. So they were bringing in new recruits. It kind of talked about the history of how NASA was kind of you know, ahead of, maybe not even ahead of its time, but it was breaking ground with hiring women and minorities. In fact, actually, I pointed it out, and because it said in the ad, said women and minorities encouraged.
Yeah, basically.
And I was like, whoa, that's
basically that they were a what would you call it? Equal opportunities employer, I suppose.
But that was kind of a publicity. That was a big part of their publicity too. Is that they were hiring.
Yeah,
they
PR.
They were a huge organization hiring women and minorities and because you know in the coming out of the 70s they were kind of woke to that, like we need to make a change, and so we're gonna. I feel like I'm clipping. Do you not hear that?
No, you're not clipping. Your headphones might be just a little high though. Tell me if this fixes anything a little bit.
I don't know. I just hear that's better.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
I
pointed that out, and so they're kind of like talking about. They're kind of giving a historical, and they're kind of giving context into entering why they even turn to it was a publicity stunt to put a teacher up in space. It wasn't really, well,
when it came to that, but you have to remember that was all because of the fact that the space. I mean, it's the whole joke about the Simpsons. Remember the Simpsons parody? Homer going into space because the space program had lost touch with the public. We were bored. I mean, how could you be bored about space travel, space exploration? But somehow the American public it's like, okay, we conquered the moon, we've conquered space. Well, at least orbit. Who's going to be excited about a space shuttle, like not going to the moon, but it's going to orbit? So it had lost some of the public.
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to get to. Is that it started to become routine.
Routine
is how they put it.
Excellent.
So it started to become routine. So people weren't coming out. Well, here's the thing. So is NASA funded by the public donations, or is it also government?
No, NASA's taxpayer money. NASA is a government organization.
But they made it sound like they needed that because they said it was. They didn't use the term publicly funded, but they mentioned something that like they needed the public involvement and they needed it. There must be some sort of private.
No, what it needed really.
Okay, well, why was it important?
I'll explain it. It's because it's taxpayer money who funds it. Now, if you have the public at large saying that, okay, we're not interested really in this anymore, it's pretty much. It could end up like you say defund, but I mean it'll lose a lot of money. And when you're going to space tech, you don't want to lose money. Because it's a very, very high skill environment. It's
more of an indirect way that the people fund NASA.
It's to get them excited about it so that they know that their tax dollars are going to a good place. And when people kind of start to say, it's a routine, and it's like, now we want other things. And there's only so much money you can take. I don't think
anybody was like disenchanted with it. It's just that
I think there was a certain level of disenchantment. When something becomes routine, like you said, it gets boring.
Those aren't my words. That's what they said in the program.
But it's true. But when things become a routine, they get boring. Anything from marriage to real life.
And here's the other thing, though.
Welcome to our routine, by the way.
I still don't think we have an answer for why they needed that public attention as much as.
I think that's it.
You're not answering it for me, really. I'd have to look into it more.
It's public. I think it's the risk of losing public funding, tax dollar funding.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say.
You know.
So, but no matter what, this kind of takes you down a journey of like where it kind of gives you like a why and how something can build to such a monumental catastrophe.
Yeah.
And it's the whole split of it's the pressure. They were trying to schedule a lot of flights.
Oh yeah, what was it like 6 in?
I don't know what the exact numbers were, but there was a lot of pressure on their schedule, and adhering to that schedule. It sounds like it's almost like TV broadcasting. It was ridiculous that they put that kind of pressure. So then there was a huge, and then this divide between management and engineers.
Yeah.
And it really came down to the wrong people making the decisions in the very end, and the wrong people being empowered to be able to overturn a decision and sway. And so anyway, before getting that, basically what led to it was the reason they even decided to, and then what makes it so tragic is because there are so many eyes on it, because they're trying to recapture an audience and build up excitement. And the thing is that by saying that even teachers can go into space, or normal civilians are now able to go into space, made space travel seem a hell of a lot safer than it really was. And that was really sad too. I mean, because it kind of followed the recruitment, the process of applying for teachers to apply, or for to apply. And then it walked through all like the top 10, and there was one that she was the second
Barbara.
contender. Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah, she was the understudy to Christy McAuliffe.
Yeah, she did go on to explain. So obviously she was very close. She was very close with the astronauts too, because she was working with them.
Well, I mean, she did eventually go to space. I mean, she did eventually go to space. She stayed with NASA until the early 2000s.
Did she go up in 2007? Was that?
I don't think it was 2007. I think it was like 1997.
Oh.
I think that was it, but it was at the very end.
They mentioned something about it. No, it was 2007 then. It was only that long ago.
But
anyway, she kind of walked through that, like they did walk through the dangers, and they did say you also know that like this is still like an experimental ship. Like this is still a testing vehicle. And like, so like I think they were aware of the dangers, but not really.
Well, actually, it's funny that you do bring that up, because
the public was being misconceived to be like, oh, it's like we got this so routine that even you can fly.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the whole testing vehicle, because if you remember when we were in Utah, and we actually met a gentleman at the airport in St. George.
Oh, it wasn't the airport. It was called the Warbird Museum by the airport.
But it was at the airport. But,
you made it sound like we just met him in the terminal or something.
No. But either way, he had worked on... he had worked with NASA. I think he was a contractor for another firm. Because, of course, NASA outsourced a lot of their building to other firms.
Did he work on the space shuttles, or did he work on the aircrafts that...
I think he worked on the actual manufacturing of the actual shuttles. And he did relate to us that the Space Shuttle Challenger was actually a test vehicle. It was completely retrofit to go to space. It was a retrofit vehicle to go to space. Now, that doesn't undermine... Again, he did make the point, it doesn't undermine the integrity of the vehicle, because in the end, it wasn't the vehicle itself, the orbiter, that failed. It was the O-rings by Tykal. Tykal?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, up in Utah as well, where they made the rocket boosters and the O-rings. And that was... I mean, that's getting... We don't get too far into it now, because I would highly...
I think everybody knows what there was... and there was a whole controversy of like the vernacular that they used to be like a plume, an unusual plume. It's like no, that was just a
ball
fire,
of flame.
that ball of flame. They weren't even trying to use the word flame.
Yeah.
So it was not a cover up, but it was like, oh my gosh, we need to really like be careful about how
mitigation.
it was
Public mitigation. Yeah, mitigating like what it was.
So like it had to just do with the booster rocket not having like the seal.
Yeah.
Basically like
the O-rings, which were basically vulcanized rubber. About the size of what,
but
your
the
thumb?
O-ring is no different than when you're like completing a seal on like anything that you're like, can be like the lid for your gas can or something, like those little rubber rings that are like on everything to keep a seal on something.
Yeah, but I mean, the only difference, of course, this was hurtling towards the atmosphere at speed of a bullet. And, basically, I mean, you've been in an aircraft in turbulence, so like, these things are shaking. It's burning what? It was like a swimming pool every minute.
I'm just trying,
of nitrogen.
I'm just trying to simplify it. It was... Yeah. It basically walked you through a journey of how something could arrive at this, the framework of how such a poor decision could be made, and the impact that it had. Yeah. And then
it was the right people but the wrong decision. You said the wrong people making the wrong decision. It was the right people making the wrong decision.
No, in the end
they made a bad decision.
okay, I'm saying that there was. I'm not sure. I don't have names and stuff in my head, and I didn't necessarily connect names of faces, but it seemed like the guy who kind of put the final stamp on everything was the man who was like a very weak and feeble looking old man, but saying the most like vile things.
Yeah, that he would make. That guy was an asshole.
Okay, there was like twice that I looked over him like, what the hell? Because he's it's towards the end of it in the final episode. He's just like I said, he's speaking very weak and feeble, so it's very deceiving until you start listening to his words and you're like, what are you saying? He basically chopped up losing those 7 lives, which should not have been lost because it's a well-documented issue. Yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, that was exactly it.
And there were so many things pointing, don't risk it. We can't prove that it's going to explode. We also can't disprove that. And I told you, well, from a scientific standpoint, if the evidence doesn't, they may not have empirical evidence that it's going to explode, but they also have never flown, has never been flown in this temperature, or attempts have never been made at this temperature. And there is a trend. Yeah,
it was like 38 degrees Fahrenheit.
There's a trend. There's a trend showing you that when the lower the temperature, the more likely that those O-rings will not flex back, and they will become brittle and they'll break. So it's like it was ridiculous. Like it was because that's what happened. They came in. The engineers were unanimously no fly. Yeah. And then somebody more of a management minded person swayed the room, and things got weird.
Well, yeah. Take off your engineering hat and put on your management hat. So were the words used.
So they were not. The decision was not made in the right frame of mind.
This is very true.
And 7 lives should not have been lost. But what I was trying to say is the guy who was in decision of flying, and he probably was a big guy to make the decision.
Well, yeah, he was the head of basically the.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is that what he ended up saying was about. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we're becoming very detailed when we're just trying to tell people.
Yeah, but I'm trying to actually pull us on because we can't talk about.
No, okay, I wanted to say that.
We can't talk about spaceflight and why NASA was the way it was at the time without, of course, referencing this gold.
For a launch here live at Cape Canaveral at the lower end of the Florida Peninsula, and the purpose of today's mission is truly, really electrifying.
That's correct, Tom. The lion's share of this flight will be devoted to the study of the effects of weightlessness on tiny screws.
I mean, boring. Talk about boring. I mean, it's a Simpsons clip, of course, but I mean, the weightlessness on screws.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it had become at that point. And it's that routine. And everybody was like this.
Unbelievable. And just imagine the logistics of weightlessness.
It's very strange. Now I understand why they're parodying after watching the documentary, because all the time you saw Walter Cronkite. Jesus, I can't say his
Old
name.
Concrete Face.
Old Concrete Face. No, that was Stone Face. Wait, what? But yeah, you saw him the whole time during it. And of course, that's what they're parodying. But yeah, this was people's reactions.
And of course, this could have literally millions
he just goes on.
Here on Earth. And everything from watchmaking to watch repair.
Boring! No! The battery!
Now let's look at the crew a little.
They're a colorful bunch. They've been dubbed the Three Musketeers.
Okay, you don't have to play the entire clip.
There's a mathematician, a different kind of mathematician, and a statistician.
A mathematician, another kind of mathematician, and a statistician. It's like, even the poor people who died on those shuttles, 14 losses and 2 hull losses. They were at least a diverse and interesting bunch. I liked these guys. I liked every single. From what you see in
unpopular opinion, I like these guys. Well,
they seem like good people, and it's. We're going to move away from.
That was the other thing. I mean, it really brought in the it was very emotional.
Humanity, yeah.
It brought in the humanity. It really struck you hard because of just. There were just the stories that each of them, their wives, and it was very hard. But like I said, there was only that one guy that was in history real life doesn't really have villains, cut lines of villains and heroes. But that guy was kind of villainous because in his old age, he can just say, well, there was no different than, losing pioneers going across the Western Plains. That's what he compared losing them to.
Playing devil's advocate, there is a certain amount of that I agree with, but that doesn't excuse. The difference there, I think, is... Now, I don't disagree with that sentiment, but here's the difference.
But he did it with no sincerity
well, here's the
or
thing,
no
but here,
empathy
well,
about it.
I'll tell you the difference. He was responsible for 7 lives. The pioneers were responsible for themselves.
Yes.
That is the difference. The pioneers made these choices. He made a call. So it's a kind of a false equivalency there a little bit, I think.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're going to move away from...
And the progress of...
We're going to move away from sorry, you...
No, it's just like and he's talking about progress, and then he was just like I said it was weird because he's like this weak and feeble man, but he's like, given the information I know now and given the information I knew then, I wouldn't make any different decision. He was like so hard and fast, and it was weird.
Way to spoil the ending of the show there anyway. But I'm teasing.
It's 2 segments.
I'm teasing.
Anyway,
we're gonna what?
This is big. I can keep talking. I have a segue too. What do you want to segue?
Wait, you have
into?
a segue? Oh,
not a segue, but I was gonna say.
I think you do actually.
I was gonna say
I think
this.
actually what we're gonna do.
Gonna compare. I was going to compare because as we were watching this, I'm like, this is a real life China syndrome. Which both had to do with seals breaking.
Which is true.
And documented mistakes.
That's true.
Documented mistakes. So if you haven't seen the 79 or
77.
No, I think it's 79
actually. Yeah, I think you might be right.
China syndrome. It's a very different issue, but it's a similar thing. As in like there's kind of a cover up going on and just neglect, and that leads to a nuclear meltdown or a potential of a nuclear.
Okay, so now since actually we're on the topic of space, I noticed something here. I think we can just pass on pressing the presses, which is usually our second segment, and we're going to move right into our third. She's been twiddling with these for just a little bit, and I want to really make sure I get this correct. Sorry, I have a lot of things to keep my mind on. Yes, but this is Britt's Bits. Britt, do your bit.
Hello, and welcome to the potpourri part of the program where I get to talk about whatever the hell I want. And the little, and like you said, we are talking about space, so in keeping in theme of that, I wanted to talk about how NASA released a new perfume, a scent.
Can I take a guess? Is it like launch day, a scent of like diesel? Well, not diesel, I suppose.
Tears of the family from the Challenger explosion.
Bye, everybody. Bye. We love you. Oh dear.
The poor little kid from A Christmas Story.
Did you see?
Forgot he was there.
Since you're wearing the shirt, Compound Media.
Yes.
I think they put on their Instagram a photo of them and like other guests like photoshopped onto all the 1986 Challenger.
I saw that. Yeah. It was Mr. Anthony Cumia who put it out there that people should watch this, and I followed your advice, Anthony.
Is that why?
I'll always follow your advice
and
as long as I'm not law-breaking.
Then they tastefully did that Photoshop.
Oh, of course they did, because they're tasteless motherfuckers, but I love them. Subscribe to Compound Media. Compound Media, you don't have to pay me. I will gladly flaunt your wares, but this isn't about me.
Gladly
Brittany,
get on my knees and give you a blowjob.
I would gladly do that if Gavin McGuinness came back. But anyway, Brittany, this is not about me. Come on, space.
All right, yeah,
space. Hang on, let me get this right. I want to get this just right in my head. You said a NASA-related cologne scent. So was I right in saying smell of space shuttle taking off? No?
Yeah, you're pretty close. Don't act like you don't know what the story is. Anyway.
You're right, I don't. Well, I don't, actually.
A scent chemist, space, the final fragrance. A scent chemist was contracted by NASA in 2008 to recreate the smell of space. Now, how he did this was he'd already done, I don't know if it was some sort of passion project or something, but he had already done a scent, created a scent that smelled like the International Space Station, like to give you olfactory stimulation of maybe what it's like to be in the International Space Station.
Did you get any... Hang on, I gotta ask this. Did it explain anywhere what that smells like?
I didn't really read it further into ISS. Probably
No.
like sweat and stinky socks. I don't know. Anyway, so basically all I can do is just interview astronauts and what their experience was. So it turns out that space smells like the most masculine man ever.
Were you trying to do a Trump there?
No, I wasn't actually, but it kind of came across that way.
Smells like a masculine man.
Masculine
like me.
man.
In fact, space actually smells like me. That's why I created Space Force. It's wonderful. You should buy my scent. It's Space by Trump, or Trump Space.
But no, it's these are some of the ways to describe the smell that they were experiencing: gunpowder, seared steak, welding fumes, raspberries, and rum.
Okay, that just smells like the Old West. If I'm actually... hang on, because I have these notes. Okay, let's see.
No, I don't really. You don't have a detailed notes.
Oh,
as
I don't.
do.
Okay, so let's go through those again. You said gunpowder,
seared steak,
Old
welding
West.
fumes,
Old West,
raspberries, and rum.
the very gay Old West. But yes, well, not the rum. I guess a pirate ship showed up at some point. Yar, mateys, have some rum. But okay, that's... How do you... Hang on. How do you figure that one out?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you figure space smells like that?
Because
You can't sniff space.
I know. So it's actually funny because I just heard it. I investigated further, but I just originally heard it as like a little NPR like blip. It's like NASA released a fragrance, has a fragrance of what space smells like.
No, you got to do it like NPR would do it.
Oh.
NASA having space fragrance. And
ASMR kind of sounding stuff.
This is how we talk on NPR.
So since it was just more of like basically the radio version of like just reading a headline, I didn't really think about it. I was like, oh, because they just listed all the type of words to describe smell. But yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Jesus.
You're right though. Like obviously space is a vacuum, meaning there's no molecule, so you're not gonna be able to smell anything. Plus, you can't be in direct contact with space; you would die. So there is a theory of how to explain these smells that the astronauts are experiencing and how it's an indirect smell. So it's not like a traditional sense of smelling space.
I actually have an idea. Are they sniffing their spacesuits when they get back on the ship that brought them
Kind
there?
of part of that. So
Smells like shit, boss. We got to do something else. Ugh. Space smells like shit. Could you imagine that? It just smells like absolute shit all the time. It's like, well, I mean, people aren't going to come here if it smells like shit. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, nice bit.
Thank you.
Anyway,
in the middle of your bitception. I don't have a bitception horn. Shit.
One explanation is that the smell is due to a chemical reaction that occurs within the spacecraft during pressurization.
Oh.
So the process is known as oxidation. So it's basically what happens. It creates an ozone smell. So that's another way that the way that astronauts are describing it, because in space the atomic oxygen single atoms can cling to a spacesuit's fabric, but not just a spacesuit. It says like to tools, to even airlock walls. So when these single atoms of oxygen combine with O2 during the cabin repressurization, they combine to make ozone, O3. And this is most likely causing the astronauts what the astronauts are smelling. It's not really the interstellar. It's not the interstellar aroma that they're really picking up. So it's more of so that's probably the most believable hypothesis, is that it's just a chemical reaction with things that interacted with space, like their spacesuits in contact with the walls, the tools that they had out in space.
Okay. Okay, I can see that.
So, and like I said,
so it's more like a very it's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
Of what space smells like. It was what it possibly could smell
and
like.
But it's always going to be indirect.
It's never going to be known.
Well, and here's some other.
I mean, that's another
Here's
thing.
some other theories. So this one's a slightly sexier idea. Like I said, that first one is like, I think that's the most plausible and probably the most contributing factor. But there's another slightly sexier idea.
You got out and just sniffed space. and then instantly died, but his dying breath was like, it smells like...
elderberries. I don't know.
It smells like rust butt.
Yeah,
That's a second shit joke.
Rusting is oxidation.
Well, that's true, but that's a second shit joke I've made, and I will casually do this to myself and self-immolate. And Brittany, you may continue to elucidate. Ooh, look at me!
Elucidate.
Yes, elucidate us on your subject of choice.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
I'm so terrified right now.
You should be.
Is that the idea is the odor is due to dying stars. Because, like, okay, we talk about... No, there's a real process of, like, stars forming and then dying and
I
blah,
know
blah.
that.
So we talk about space being a vacuum, but like, hydrogen and helium and things that, like, make up the core of planets and things like that, like, those are real things, like, elements that are in space. So, like, they could be a contributing factor.
Okay,
because
I see your point.
Anyway, without getting into too many details, when a star dies, it does release a lot of energy, and this produces what they call pungent compounds known as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which flow endlessly around the universe and assist in the creation of new comets, planets, and stars, blah, 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 blah. So stardust, basically...
There's a stardust waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he's currently baking a pie.
Yep, yes, go right to that soundboard, please. I love it. Okay. Also,
buck up. I'll get you your own soundboard. How's that sound?
I love that.
Bored.
Also, that'd be so annoying. It's just a, like, podcast of only soundboards. We don't even talk. We just use soundboards to try and string together a conversation.
Hey, Brittany. Hey, Josh.
It doesn't make sense, you dick!
It's just that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the show, it's like and subscribe. If you... Like and subscribe. Soundboard Wars. It's terrible. Awful show. I'm sorry.
Okay, here's the last one, though. Like I said, it could be a contributing factor. But also the dust cloud that's at the center of the Milky Way contains large amounts of ethyl formate. This is a compound that on Earth gives raspberries their flavor. Could explain why. I guess there's ethyl on Earth. Ethyl formate is...
Ethyl. Yes. Ethyl formate.
Is a compound found in raspberries that it does actually produce their flavor. This is a chemical compound.
That is very...
all the elements that are in... There are not, like, new elements in space. The same elements are in space that are found on Earth.
I mean, I don't eat raspberries, but I'm never going to look at a raspberry the same. I'm going to be like...
There is kind of like an alcoholic...
I think I'm going to have to eat one now. Just be like, you taste like space.
Yeah, you taste like the middle of the Milky Way. This just in, Milky Ways don't taste like the Milky Way. If you want to taste the Milky Way, eat raspberries.
Very good. Look at that. I don't know what anybody... how many people know what a Milky Way is in America? Do you have Milky Ways here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never seen them in the store.
That I'd be looking for them. I'm not free. Also, I wonder if they still make Milky Way Midnight, the ones that are dark chocolate.
Why did you have to make that sound sexy? Come eat our Milky Way Midnight. Join
Did
the
I make
party.
it sound sexy? I don't think I sound sexy.
No, actually, the product kind of sounds sexy.
Yeah.
Milky Way Midnight. Come up to the 5th floor and milk your way.
I still have some more about ethyl formate. It's also created from a reaction between an acid and a type of alcohol, which gives a smell, which does produce a smell similar to that of rum. So once again, that kind of ties into like why some astronauts describe smelling raspberries or rum.
Maybe they're just all alcoholics.
I think all the rest of it, the gunpowder, welding fumes, that's the ozone smell.
It honestly just sounds like space is literally... Again, I'm just going to say this. It sounds like the Wild West. Guns, gunpowder, rum, raspberries for some reason.
I just thought it smelled like a very, like... Because I think it's just funny, like, for instance, like, you have, like, bourbon, bourbon...
Wash, like body wash.
So I just thought it smelled like a...
Which doesn't smell like bourbon.
I just like kind of imagine like the Dos Equis guy like smelling like this, kind of like seared steak and rum.
I'll be honest with you.
That's why I'm like thinking of the man. That's why I was thinking of the manliest man.
Do you know what I thought space smelled like when I was a kid?
What? You actually thought about this?
Oh yeah. Okay. I always thought if space was going to have a smell, it would smell like cheese, Gromit, cheese, because the moon was like the Dove bar of space, where it's just like floating around, it's like smell like a Frenchman in space kind of thing. I don't know. I always figured there'd be like a dairy smell to space. I don't know why.
Because the moon is made out of cheese.
Yeah. Yes, Gromit. Cheese.
But I have
Rochester.
Okay, that's basically it. I have a slight. It's kind of cute. It's kind of silly.
It's kind of cool.
Sweet.
I mean,
it's kind of cool.
To think, I kind of is
what an
here's a
interesting job to have to recreate the smell of space.
This is true, but also here is a question for you: is this cologne or scent available to public?
I don't actually.
We need to look into that.
Officially know yet.
Brittany, you will now have assignment, and you need to look into that.
Okay, I will. I'll update you guys.
Thank you very much. And
Anyway, I actually have another part of my bits.
oh, you do.
I don't have one bit. I have two bits.
Oh my God! Does that mean we have to play the?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, you can't. No, you don't have to. Okay. Well, anyway. So interesting little fun random space fact. It's true that we went to the moon before we embarked into the deepest parts of the oceans.
Well, yeah.
And speaking of depth, the core of the Earth still holds a lot of mysteries. Now, without adding any more context, I want to play an audio clip for you, Josh, and I want you to describe what you think you're hearing. Just let me pull it up here really quickly.
Right. Kind of want to hear this.
On me phone. So I just want you to describe what this sounds like. I will turn down my phone just a tiny bit because I will warn you, it could be a little bit of assault on the ears.
Well, if that's the case, I'll just play it. This is the living embodiment of what I think hell sounds like. Do you know
Keep listening.
I've heard this somewhere before. I know I have.
So what do you think? What does it sound like to you?
Again, aside from the living embodiment of hell, it does sound like a. It makes me visualize, like, remember the old TVs, like after and the land of and the home of the free, beep, like the static on the TV.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of that. Would be the actual, like, if you honed in on that sound of static, that's that sound.
But why? But why?
It's either that or it's the gates of hell. I don't know which it is.
You are right in assuming the first thing that you felt like it heard. Like, no.
Oh.
It is
the gates of hell.
Yes.
What?
That is.
Have we just confirmed hell?
I'm so sorry.
God.
I have it in another.
I'm no longer agnostic. Hallelujah. Imonina Sancti Maria, please forgive me for my trespasses.
Uh-oh.
What? Oh, so we haven't confirmed hell? Well, that's a bit of a downer. Why can't we? What?
Oh, I had a description of the clip, and now I can't. I'm really sorry.
What was it? Just tell me what it was.
Oh, God. I had it written down here, and then I forgot to...
Does that mean you've forgotten what it is? What is it? You can't hold me in suspense like this. What is the clip?
What the fuck? I'm sorry. This is annoying. I'm really sorry.
It doesn't matter. What's the clip? What is it? Without the description. What is it?
What the fuck? I had it written down. Now
Can you not just explain it to me? What is it?
Yeah, I can. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, you don't need your notes. Come on. Just what the hell is it?
So apparently see if I can try and do this off the top of my head. So apparently in 1989, a team of engineers were drilling a hole, and I can't remember how far they ended up digging. But
it's the sound of the descent of the earth.
But no, you're right. You're right in saying hell though. So they ended up like digging like 9 miles or something. Maybe not 9 miles, but they ended up digging like very deep into the surface of the earth.
They got to the bottom and
because they were building a tunnel. They hit a cavern. So as they were building the tunnel, like I said, I don't know the approximate how far down they were. They hit a cavern, and then they ran some tests before they continued drilling. And what they did is they ended up actually taking some tests, and they recorded temperatures of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit coming out of the hole.
So that's the...
And then let me go on.
Okay.
So then they ended up putting down very like
second.
heat resistant like microphones.
They started screaming. Okay, no. Keep going.
No.
Heat
So
heat
that's
resistant
what
microphones.
They
yes.
dropped down the microphones, and then when they played the audio, that's what they heard.
That sounds to me like the inside of the microphone might be melting and the audio is corrupted, but that is...
But does that not...
Could you play that again? Please,
Yeah.
I want you to play that again. For our audience out there who've never heard
I'm really
the sounds
sorry
of hell,
about the delay, and it
Don't-
wasn't that hard to
don't-
relate.
Yeah, exactly.
What had happened.
That's exactly what I'm talking
I'm
about.
sorry.
Just be ready to talk without even having notes. I wing it, birds wing it, why can't you? Let's see. Not you specifically. I mean you, the listener. Let's hear this again.
Everybody put your hands in the air.
Okay, stop now. It kind of also sounds like those old phones back in the day when you were at a concert and you're trying to take a video, and it's like that's why I was there.
Well, yeah, it sounds like a large mass of people, but it sounds like
It's horrifying.
But
it is horrifying.
But I couldn't quite hear it on second listening, but like there are distinct sounds of like yelling, like tortured screams and laughter.
Yeah, that's I mean, there's a lot to digest from that.
But anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on.
I was just gonna say, being convinced that they opened up a portal to hell. The engineers,
Dios mío, I think we've gone to hell.
the engineers abandoned the site, abandoned the project, and they boarded up the hole. And
They boarded up a hole.
Well, whatever. They closed down the site.
Okay. Is it still accessible?
I don't know.
Wow, that is something to find out. That is some more research and assignment for you, Brittany.
Anyway, that happened in Siberia in 1989. They were convinced that they had
Okay,
opened
we're
up
never
a
going to
path
get
to
that
hell.
done. That was USSR shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, another swear.
So I thought that was
I think we're
interesting.
up to
But
4.
no, but actually, I'm sorry. They did have access to it sometime later, just recently, only
Somebody
about
fell
like a
into
year
it.
or two ago. They were actually able to get to the bottom of it, no pun intended. And they were able to get to the bottom of it, and they dropped down, and they were able to send a crew down there, and they ended up meeting
Satan.
they ended up meeting this guy.
Oh.
We are live from my backyard where I am smoking a brisket and some ribs. I'm making meats now. Smoking these meats here.
I don't get this bit. What's this bit? Who the hell is that?
It's Mark Zuckerberg live from his backyard.
Oh,
That's what.
right. Very good. Okay,
And he was just smoking some meats, guys. Just relax. You don't.
Very good.
You don't know
Okay.
about that meme? Like there was such a meme about him. Like I'm a normal guy. I'm just smoking these meats.
And that bell is for Mark Zuckerberg not being normal. Right. Brittany, thank you for the bits. That was your Brits bits for the day, people. Now we're going to move on to usually what precurses the old Brits bits. We're going to move into a little section we like to call Pressing the Presses. There we go. Yes. Yes, look at that ticker tape moving along. So this week, and this actually only came out today, hot off the presses for once, I think. So California are to ban gasoline-powered vehicles by 2035. California Governor Gavin Newsom announced Wednesday that he planned to sign an executive order that would have the effect of banning the sale of all passenger vehicles, cars, that run on internal combustion engines by 2035, while banning the sale of light and heavy-duty vehicles that run on gasoline by 2045. Newsom's predictions, by the time the new rule goes into effect, zero-emission vehicles will almost certainly be cheaper and better than the traditional fossil fuel-powered cars. The statement also calls on the California legislature to cease issuing new fracking permits by the year 2024. Right. Now, here's the thing with this. If you think an electric car doesn't run off of... where does the electricity come from? How is the electricity basically manufactured? You're not just some asshole sitting out in the middle of a field with a rod waiting for lightning. So power has to be generated. Brittany's going to signal me her headphones are a little loud. Let's get
No, I
those
was
down.
thinking that the music background was a little loud.
No, it's perfectly fine. I can hear them in the monitor here. Sorry.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. No. When it comes to that production stuff, don't worry about it. I got it.
You didn't
It's
need
okay.
to acknowledge
It's fine.
me.
So my question is, do these people have any idea how electricity is actually made? I mean, you need fossil fuels to create electricity. California doesn't have any water source naturally that I can think of that would generate enough hydroelectricity. It's not windy enough, realistically speaking, to generate aerodynamic electricity. What would you call that? Science major over there.
It's aerodynamics.
No, aerodynamics is how something moves through the air.
Yeah. Hydrodynamics.
Hydrodynamics is water.
Yeah, liquid.
So air. What's air? What's...
Aerodynamics.
No, it's not aerodynamic. I don't... Okay, whatever it is. I'm sure you know what
It is.
I don't think it's called aerodynamic electricity. Aerodynamic is how something moves through the air. Like an aircraft is aerodynamic. That's not the...
If you break down the term, it's just the movement in the air. Describing movement in the air. Aerodynamics.
Hydroelectricity.
Aeroelectricity. Wind power.
Wind power. Okay, let's just say wind power.
I don't know what you're
I mean, if
to...
there was enough hot air coming out of California already, I mean, we've been inundated
all those
by...
cows, right? Methane gas. Cowspiracy.
Oh, God, that movie. Don't even bring up that movie. But, I mean, like, the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't see how this could ever work. Plus, here's something that was put to me very well today. Electric cars have a very, very limited amount of distance they can go. Not everywhere is going to be able to afford these electricity pump stations, I guess, for a vehicle base that will have to be this large. I mean, you have to turn off your appliances at night in California to save power. They don't have a good electrical grid. I mean, there's no way. Even with 15 years, California is not going to be able to facilitate this. And if they go through with it, not going to look good for them. I just don't think it's not going to look good. I think it's a very, very poor idea. You're also, as I said before, you're negating the whole thing that fossil fuels are necessary to generate electricity, especially in a place like California, in my opinion, because they're lacking the natural resources to do it. Prove me wrong. Also, if diesel is gone, California is huge on freight. Diesel freight trains run the Transcon. We were in Flagstaff about 3 weeks ago. How many trains did we see pass through Flagstaff?
Many miles.
Many miles of train. Sound like India, like a Native American.
We saw many miles of
Many miles
locomotion.
going from sundown to sunset of great wind god over sky. Yes, basically, we saw shiitake mushrooms loads of trains. We saw shitloads of trains. Look at me dancing around another swear word. But we saw hundreds of trains, most of which come from California. So, I mean, what of diesel fuel?
California.
I was the governor there. Bow before me. Tuki, you're going to die.
I'd just be interested in Elon Musk's take on this.
Elon Musk is getting the hell out of California, I believe, too.
No, I know. That's why I think it's interesting, because he's leaving that state. But I wonder if he would agree with this, because since he's in the electric car business.
This is very, very true. But the thing about Tesla...
I wonder if he'd be like, oh, California, that's actually a good move.
But
he might be... I don't think it's feasible.
But from what I understand, the reason that Tesla are behind orders on vehicles is because basically the resources to make the batteries are not really there. You have a point.
No, I just realized something. If Elon Musk is leaving California, is a tunnel project being abandoned?
No, I doubt it is. I mean, Elon himself might move headquarters, but I'd say a lot of the business will still be in California. He'll probably spread it out to a few more states.
Because you know about that, right? Like, he wants to build tunnels.
Yeah. But I mean,
for tunnel traffic.
But this is also a state that is very, very heavily invested in the San Andreas fault. Tunnels, I don't know if they're the best idea. It's like, oh, earthquake, where am I going to go? Underground? Oh yeah, it crumbled. It's gone.
No. Actually, I saw I saw something with him, a little thing on YouTube of him with Jay Leno, and Jay Leno said the same thing. He's like, this wouldn't be the safest place to be like for Earth. He's like, no, actually, it's safer underground. You have to realize that seismic waves is what's happening at the surface. It actually isn't. Actually, being underground is fine.
But a fault line is below you, as well. The fault line, I mean...
But you're talking about quakes and...
Yeah, but I mean, like, if the fault line decides to go and you're in a tunnel...
Whatever, he said that being underground is safe.
Maybe. Anyway, that's the thought. That was the latest from California, our whimsical neighbours to the west.
It'd be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see. 15 years, that's even if Gavin Newsom does sign it through. We'll have to wait and see. Personally,
so you said that
Gavin,
he announced Wednesday that he planned to sign an executive order.
Allegedly, yes. He plans to sign it. I don't know if it's been signed yet, but apparently this is going to happen. California likes to push through these things as fast as possible. I would think the more pressing issue, realistically speaking, is forest management, so your state doesn't burn to a cinder every freaking summer.
Yeah.
Start logging, start looking after your forests, maintaining them up and down that Pacific coast, because your forest management is a mess, and I don't believe that vehicles and fossil fuels are I don't think they're the existential threat you all think they are right now. But that is pressing the presses, so let's move on to more pressing issues.
Pressing issues?
Yes.
What else you got from...
So, no, the pressing of the presses is over, because now we are moving on to the final part of the show.
Yay!
Unfortunately, the 50s guy is not calling in tonight, and we don't have any Twitterology to speak of.
You need to really get that guy's name.
I don't have a name for him. He's just a 50s guy. But he's not here tonight, so we do have a little segment we like to call That's Entertainment.
And so do you want me to do my little contribution first, please?
You have a contribution?
I do.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Brittany, entertain me.
I happen to be staring at a little figurine of Adam Jensen from Deus Ex, which Josh loves so much.
And by the way, folks, she never asked for this.
And so that studio, Square Enix, actually worked on a latest release. I believe you're upset because they ended up working on a Deus Ex game for Marvel's Avengers, or whatever, Marvel Avengers, which just a release recently. But this has been going around the internet, so I have a quick clip to play for you guys.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
probably
Brittany,
able to decipher what's going on here. So here we go.
Whenever you're ready there.
And
from the Marvel Avengers game.
Agreeable grunt.
Did you hear it?
You may want to play that just
Okay, I was going to say
time.
It's a little bit quieter, so you probably needed to.
Let's pump that up.
Okay, so this is what's been going around.
I heard something that
the
sounded
internet.
like disagreeable cunt.
Agreeable grunt.
I like how you don't
Hang on, wait.
You don't get upset that you just said cunt on, but like saying shit, you're like, oh no.
I rang the bell 4 times.
So
wait, hang on. Play that one last time. I'm not quite sure what is going on here. I want to hear the context.
Okay.
It's quiet.
So you're looking at it. So just to give context,
show me. Okay.
You're looking at gameplay footage, and it's just a segment of the player is operating the Incredible Hulk, and he's just walking down a hallway in a lab building or whatever setting, and someone just asks him the question, how you holding in there, or how you doing, Hulk? And this is the Hulk's response.
You doing okay, Hulk?
Agreeable grunt.
So clearly,
can I see that?
So clearly, we don't have to play it again. My God!
I just want to see it one last time. I want to see the video.
See the video. There's nothing to see. You just see the back of Hulk.
Okay, so Hulky's walking. There we go.
You doing okay, Hulk?
Agreeable grunt.
It comes up as a subtitle.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in the subtitles,
Squeenix, have you pissed all over the grave of Deus Ex to bring us an agreeable grunt?
So obviously in the subtitles it has in brackets the Microsoft text, Microsoft Sam audio that's supposed to be filler until you put in what needs to be put in there. So they didn't
embarrassing.
So that was a little
Let's all do
It's a huge game, but it's just so funny, and it quickly was showing up all around YouTube and things like that.
Can we all just do our little agreeable grunt sounds? Brittany, how you doing, Brittany?
Agreeable grunt.
Now you ask me.
Josh, how's it hanging? Oh, you want to do an agreeable grunt should sound like?
Yes, I would like those
The
not
Hulk's agreeable grunt would be like,
Brittany, how you holding that, Britt?
It's 11. Hey, Josh, you doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so scope.
I don't know why
You're
this-
agreeably grunting at me. Yeah. Agreeable grunt. Fuck you, Scooby-Doo. I always hated you.
I don't know how our I don't know how our hot take on this thing turned out to be more cringy than the thing itself, but you made it go that in that direction.
You are welcome to it.
That's fine.
We're running
We
low
got
on
stuff
time
about
here.
Jesus and South Park here. That's all I see.
Yes, a sequel to The Passion of the Christ is in the works. Actor Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus in the 2004's The Passion of the Christ.
Jesus, I can't pronounce this guy's name.
Holy shit, look at all those vowels. Said writer-director Mel Gibson has written a forthcoming sequel. Mel Gibson just sent me a third picture. The third, that makes it sound like there's a prequel. The third? It's called The Passion of the Christ Resurrection. It's going to be the biggest film in history.
I was going to say, is it about Jesus Christ, like the second coming? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
He rose from the shackles of death.
I want to see the prequel, the Leviticus Diaries, or the Leviticus Chronicles. I mean, of course, let's never, ever forget the
So is that
wonderful...
So is the... I never saw Passion of the Christ. So is Passion of the Christ, it literally does just follow his... Like how many years of his life, and it just ends
follows
on
the
the
last
crucifixion.
days of Jesus. Now...
And it just ends on the crucifixion. It doesn't end with the
It basically ends with a whip, a bang, and a... Horrible. It's a great movie.
A goofy scream.
Not
That's
quite.
what I thought you were going to go into.
No.
Oh, gosh.
But we do have a great clip of the Passion of the Christ trailer.
Okay.
I turned it to Jeff Goldblum there for a second. The trailer. Yes. We
That's
have,
okay. I haven't been too smooth tonight either.
We have the Passion of the Christ 2.
I've been a little...
So we will quickly play this for you.
In the year 33 A.D.
The Messiah! He's gone! Where did he go?
Hang on!
Man, you crazy, Jesus! You crazy!
That's what my ex-wife said.
You're the son of God! You sure are a son of a...
Chris Tucker and Jim Caviezel? Is that
Yes.
it? The guy from the first one? Passion of the Christ 2. Crucify this.
You know how to use one of these?
You know how to use one of these?
This July, let he who is without sin kick the first ass.
Oh, man, that's all we need. More Mel Gibson Jesus mumbo jump.
Well, we're getting it whether we like it or not.
Weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, actually, The Passion of the Christ is a great movie. I enjoyed it. Got a lot of flack. It's like, it's very anti-Semitic. It's like, it's actually kind of just telling a biblical tale.
Well...
I mean, I don't know if
think,
that's anti-Semitic.
I was kind of, some Christians were against it because it was a very graphic portrayal. It was also rated R.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, do you really think the life of Jesus was a rated G affair? I mean, he lived, if he did live. Well, he did live.
No, but I think
2020 years ago. Do you think that was fun times to be living in?
No, I think they made it explicitly more gory than it had to be, and that's not.
But did you see it?
No, I did not see it.
We're gonna have to see
but
it
that's the criticism that it was receiving from from people that know and do know the story and would partake in watching something kind of a religious nature were opposed to it as well. So they had controversies. They had controversies. They had controversies coming across different nerds, and that was the controversy for me growing up. Is that it was a very disrespectful, irreverent portrayal of the crucifix. And the fact that it was just
irreverent?
Irreverent.
There was nothing irreverent about it. It was very realistic and kind of horrifying.
That's what I mean. It was.
I mean, the 30 lashings.
That was just the word I described. You don't have to break it down.
Well.
Anyway, but because it focused on Christ's crucifixion, and normally it shouldn't take, in that same story, you should have talked about the resurrection, because that's kind of the whole point of talking about why Jesus Christ was killed.
I guess all will be revealed in the sequel.
All will be revealed in the sequel. The Bible did it first.
Or just read. Bible did it first. Or just consult your local Bible. You can find them in the hotel room. We are currently banging a hooker. Maybe you might need it afterwards. That and maybe an STD test.
That probably is the audience that's listening to us.
I'm okay with that. Hey, you filth bags.
Because they just stumbled across this and they don't know how to change the channel.
Yes. I think that is going to do it for us. The final music is playing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe if you like what you've heard. And
No. I don't care if you like it. Just subscribe anyway, please.
Like and subscribe.
Don't give them a choice, Josh. Just tell them to do it.
Oh, right. Like and subscribe, you scrawny sons of bitches. That'll do it from myself, Brittany, and the two empty chairs. And, of course, the Tony Cat. Wherever she might be, we're going to get out of here. Good night, folks. Take care. God bless. Or Satan bless. Atheist bless. Whatever you are. Good night.
Good night. I'm out of here.